Hi, I'm Randy Rippiger, President of IAAO, and I'm speaking with you today to provide an update on the association's new volunteer opportunities. IAAO recently announced changes to our volunteer opportunities and will go into greater detail at a special town hall meeting at the upcoming IAAO annual conference in Las Vegas. We're expecting a large crowd in Las Vegas and hope you will be able to attend the town hall meeting. However, we know that not all members will be at the conference, so we wanted to offer details, the background, and give you a chance to submit questions about the changes to info@iaao.org. In 2013, the Executive Board formed an Infrastructure Review Special Committee for the purpose of looking at the structure of operations and committees, and to analyze if they are serving the current organization and accomplishing the strategic goals. In early 2014, the Special Committee proposed changing the committee structure in order to provide greater flexibility and to promote quick responses and greater communication. By doing so, IAAO will be able to quickly refocus assets on rapidly evolving and frequently shifting priorities. The process to make our committee structure more relevant and flexible for our volunteers has taken a few years, but the Executive Board is now ready to integrate organizational improvements. Our goal then is to improve our volunteer infrastructure to better prepare the association for future relevance and success, allowing for confident and nimble decision-making and work systems. Volunteers have been instrumental throughout IAAO's history, and our committee structure served us well. In fact, it's been a positive legacy that paved the way for the new structure. Today, we have evolved to a point where a change in our volunteer leadership structure is necessary to maximize our organizational potential in reaching the goals of the Vision 2020 strategic plan. The future may require fewer systems and structures with more processes in response to current and anticipated opportunities and challenges. For many committee volunteers, there will be little change. Leadership days will continue as well as their committees. For others, the new system will allow more volunteers to take part in single-issue task forces that have a shorter duration. In addition, we will focus appointing volunteers based on their specific experience and qualifications to meet the task at hand. Currently, IAAO has more than 100 committed volunteers working on more than a dozen committees, and many of those will be gathering in Kansas City in October for our semi-annual Leadership Days. I look forward to seeing our volunteers this year and at future Leadership Days. IAAO's recent success of the use of task forces, first on the understanding of intangibles, second on the big box position paper, is an example of the structure of volunteerism for the future. Change will include not only the greater use of volunteer task forces comprised of IAAO members, but volunteerism will be facilitated by easy-to-use online meeting technology to reduce current meeting costs and time out of the office. In the past, leadership meetings of our committees routinely met only twice a year, but with the creation of new task forces that will meet online to achieve the scope and specific objectives assigned to the task force, we will now move our organization forward by maximizing our collective know-how. The decision-making process was involved. Our goal was to realign the volunteer process and make it more effective and also more attractive for volunteers from a commitment standpoint. In preparing for the review, we were advised to look at combining committees and developing ad hoc groups to handle specific duties. We saw that our existing committee structure had committees that could be combined or better operate as task forces. Under the new structure, we will focus on setting up groups based on experience and knowledge and allow volunteers to participate without an extended long-term commitment. This is based on what we learned at ASAE CEO symposiums regarding best practices on managing associations. we found that most associations today have 3 to 4 standing committees, supplemented by task forces and special work groups. IAAO will rely on 3 groups: the professional staff at headquarters, standing volunteer committees, and new task force groups. This evolution will allow IAAO to uncouple the volunteer workforce structure from the staff structure, so staff is responsible for function and program operations, while member volunteers can focus on advancing the interests of the industry. Standing committees will also be able to use subject matter experts as needed. So how did we determine what committees remain standing committees and which are task forces? We asked a series of questions about the makeup of the committee, its role, and strategic importance to IAAO. Committees and task forces can play different roles for the association, and those roles were evaluated in reviewing committees. Committees play an important role in providing advice, review, work, and must provide a function. IAAO developed a set of standards to design and manage the work groups in order that they have clear objectives, directions, and workloads. With all that in mind, the Executive Board looked at the existing committee structure to see what changes need to be made in our move to the task force model. A prime example of how the association wants to operate is the recent Big Box Task Force, which looked at the issue and put together a position paper to be released at the annual conference. Going forward, we want additional task forces focusing on individual research topics rather than one committee focusing on all issues. Technical standards will merge with research to form the Research and Standards Committee. Multiple tasks can be performed simultaneously by utilizing task forces. USPAP will continue as a standing committee as the work does not sunset. The Conference Committee will continue as the current structure works well. The Legal Committee will change to a task force to operate as needed. Local Host will operate as a task force also, having new members every year. The Budget Committee will be reformatted as a board committee with representatives of the Executive Committee and board members serving on the committee. Planning and Rules will have a name change to Governance and will be an Executive Board Committee. Nominating will also be a committee of the Executive Board. The Ethics Committee will remain a standing committee. The Membership Recognition Committee will continue as a standing committee. The Marketing, Communications, and Technology will no longer be a committee, but will be set up as a task force to operate as needed for specific projects. International will sunset at the end of the year and add additional international members to other committees, as one of our goals has been to bring international aspects into all of our committees rather than just focus on one committee. The Associate Member Subcommittee will also sunset at the end of this year. We will add associate members to assist the Conference Committee and then develop task forces as needed on issues of importance to associate members. Chapters and affiliates will also be moved to the task force approach, working on issues important to our chapters and affiliates. Membership services will become the Membership Committee and will have new specific goals such as mentoring, chapter and affiliate growth. The CEAA and Professional Designations Subcommittees will be merged and called Professional Development to handle all credentialing purposes. Instructor Relations and Education will merge and be a standing committee called Education. Once completed, there will be 3 Executive Board committees, 8 standing committees, and a number of task forces. When IAAO first moved to Kansas City in 2005, committees handled many general duties for the association as we had limited professional staff. Over the past decade, we have built up and expanded our staff to handle association duties. Today, we are looking to our members to provide assistance in their primary field, assessment. In redesigning work groups, it is not an issue of where we have been, but where we are going, and designing the right work groups to get us there. Our goal is to create a structure that develops a more cost-effective use of IAAO membership volunteers. The results include reduced time lags in the creation of new offerings, maximize expertise of the membership through increased and targeted volunteer assignments, expand the opportunity for members to participate, and a significant in-person meeting cost reduction to IAAO, money that can be redirected to advancements in other online IAAO offerings, helping us to reach the needs of our members worldwide. I recognize there will be resistance to this change, and that's understandable. Individuals resist change, teams and groups resist change, whole organizations resist change. It's really the human response. Volunteers become attached to familiar ways of doing things, and it's simply easier to stay with the status quo. I know this will be a sacrifice that many of you, our volunteers, will have to make, and I understand the emotions that you are going through. I want to reassure you, everyone, we are not getting rid of you, our volunteers. Our volunteer structure is evolving to be more responsive and nimble. When can you expect changes in the IAAO leadership structure? The existing structure will sunset on December 31st, and the new structure becomes effective on January 1st of next year. Transition steps will be discussed with the assistance of the entire organization at IAAO Leadership Days to be held in October and throughout the rest of the year. If you are a committee volunteer, I encourage you to reapply. If you're not a volunteer, I urge you to apply and help IAAO move forward. Additional information, the volunteer form, and the new committee diagram is posted on our website. And again, you can submit questions you have about the changes to info@iaao.org. Thank you.